What's up guys, Shane Starnes here, and I finally got my hands on the Redmi Note 7. This is the budget phone to beat, but there are a few things that you're going to want to do to this phone when you first get it out of the box. These are the first 10 things you need to do on the Redmi Note 7 for the best possible experience. Let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing that I would do on the Redmi Note 7 is go ahead and set up some sort of security on your phone. The last thing you want to do is leave it sitting out and someone be able to access your personal information because you didn't have some sort of lock screen protection. In my opinion, the Redmi Note 7 has an incredible fingerprint scanner right there on the back. So the first thing that I would do is go ahead and set up that fingerprint scanner. We'll go into our settings, go into lock screen and password, go into manage fingerprints, and the two fingerprints that I would suggest adding would be both index fingers. So that way you can pick up the phone with either your left or right hand and be able to unlock it with those fingerprints. So we'll go ahead and add a fingerprint. I've already got this fingerprint registered. So go ahead and place our finger over the sensor and just continue to do that until it's finished adding that fingerprint. And then we'll go through the second step, which is just going to make it more accurate. Fingerprint 2 is added, so now I should be able to unlock the phone with either one of my fingerprints, like so. You can add other fingerprints if you would prefer your middle finger or ring finger. You're able to do that there as well. While we're on the topic of the fingerprint scanner, you can also use that as a shutter button when you're taking selfies. Go into your camera app and then jump into the settings. All right, and there's an option right here under additional settings that says fingerprint shutter, so we'll go ahead and select that. We can go back to the camera, I'll flip it, and now if I want to take a selfie, I can just use that fingerprint scanner as a shutter button, which is super convenient. So speaking about the camera, the second thing that I would do is go into your lock screen and password settings. Again, there's this option here for launching the camera with a double press of the volume down button. This is great for those Kodak moments when certain times arise and you need your camera quickly. You don't really have time to pull your phone out and fumble around trying to open your camera. Instead, you can just simply double press the volume button and that launches your camera from the lock screen, or if the screen is just totally turned off. The third thing that I would do is go ahead and install a third-party launcher. One thing about my UI is the fact that pretty much it just vomits all of your apps onto your home screen with no real apparent order. And just to get some organization of all your apps and kind of clean up your home screen, the screen that you're going to be looking at most of the time, I would suggest a third-party launcher. Something like Nova Launcher would be a perfect alternative. So to set that up, once you have it downloaded from the Play Store, you'll go into your settings, just search for launcher, go to your default launcher settings, and then change that over to your new third-party launcher. All right, so now when you go back home, you will have a much cleaner look of your home screen, and all of your apps will be tucked away in the app drawer, just making for a much better overall look and feel to your phone. The next thing that I would do is go ahead and set up your shortcuts in the notification panel. So if we swipe down the notification panel, you have some various shortcuts here. I would go ahead and rearrange these for the most used shortcuts. So the way you'll do that is swipe down again and go all the way over to the right screen. You'll see an edit button. From here, you can just kind of drag and drop those. It looked like the top 5 would be the ones that show up on the first swipe. So the ones that you're going to use the most, I would make those my top 5. So for me, that would be like my Bluetooth setting, of course, my Wi-Fi, my flashlight, and probably I would use my airplane mode before I use my mobile data. And then more than likely, I would use my hotspot more than my mute. All right, so when you're done with that, you can just click done, and now whenever you swipe down once, you're going to get all of those settings in your notification panel. Next thing that I would suggest is go ahead and grab a charger that's compatible with Quick Charge 3.0 or Quick Charge 4.0. This phone is actually compatible with Quick Charge 4.0 charging, which will give you half a charge in 30 minutes or so. That's a 4,000 milliamp hour battery included here, which is huge. And to be able to charge it up to 50% in 30 minutes is huge, but the included charger does not support Quick Charge 4.0. And I can kind of understand that as you're getting this phone for a great value, they're asking you to go and purchase that quick charging compatibility on your own. So I'll include a link in the description of where you can purchase a quick charger for yourself. That's going to help you immensely when it comes to charging times. Another really cool feature of the Redmi Note 7 Pro that you're going to want to go ahead and enable is the flip to silence feature. So we'll go into our settings, go into your system apps, go into call settings. Under incoming call settings, there's a really cool feature called flip to silence the ringer. So when the phone is on a horizontal surface with the screen facing up, flip it over to silence the ringer, turn off vibration, and stop flashing notification light. So if you happen to be in a setting that you really don't need any distractions, like say you're in a library where it needs to be quiet, or maybe you're in a meeting at the office and you don't need the distraction of your phone, if you have this feature turned on, whenever it's time to totally remove distractions, simply flip your phone over, and that's going to basically put your phone in do not disturb mode as long as it's flipped over. And then once you flip it back over, then you'll be able to receive your calls again. Speaking of do not disturb, you'll probably want to go ahead and set up your do not disturb. Go into your settings, go into sound and vibration, and then go ahead and set up your do not disturb. So if you go into do not disturb, there's all kinds of settings here. Basically what you'll be able to do with the do not disturb settings, you'll be able to schedule this to turn on and off at a particular time. So say you know you go to bed at 10 p.m. and you wake up every day at 6 a.m. You can set up your do not disturb to turn on at those hours when you know you'll be sleeping. This way the only calls that can come through are calls from your favorites list. Another restriction would be calls that happen more than once. So if somebody's really trying to get in touch with you if it's an emergency, they'll probably try to call you more than once, and that call could come through. Next up, you'll probably want to go ahead and change your battery indicator to indicate the actual battery percentage. The way that you'll do that is go into your settings, go into notifications and status bar, go to battery indicator and change that to percentage, and it's going to give you the actual percentage of battery life that is left on your phone. Next up, you'll probably want to set up your button and gesture shortcuts. The way that you'll do that is go into your settings, go down to where it says additional settings, and then go to where it says button and gesture shortcuts. So there are quite a few that are already set up here. And you can, of course, change how to get to those. Things like taking a screenshot, you can do that simply by sliding 3 fingers down, and that takes a screenshot. Launching the camera, by default, is set up for 2 presses of the power button, and you can do that from any screen. Turn on the torch, so in those instances where you really need to get to that flashlight quickly, you can press power and the home button, and that's going to turn on your torch. Launching Google Assistant is a big one. It's set up by default just to long press the home button to get to your Google Assistant. And then to open up split screen, you can set this one too. Long pressing the back button gets you in the split screen mode so that you can quickly and easily multitask. There are a few other settings here worth mentioning. There's this quick ball setting, which is just another way to navigate. So if we turn that on, it's going to give you the quick ball here, which is going to allow you to navigate. There's a home button, a back button, there's a screenshot button here, and a menu button. You can also edit those shortcuts here and change the preferred gesture. Another thing that you may want to consider here is activating one-handed mode. If the screen feels a little too big for your hands, you can simply activate one-handed mode, and you can change the one-handed screen from 4.5 inches to 4 inches to 3.5 inches. This does have a notification light here in the bottom of the screen, and you can make some changes to that notification light. All right, guys, that about wraps it up for the first 10 things that you should do when you first get your Redmi Note 7. Hopefully this will help you to have the best possible experience on your brand new phone. If you can think of any other things that you should do, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. That about wraps it up for this video. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.